Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. My name is Liv Simpkins Bullock. I'm the program coordinator for Partners for Clean Streams. You're here because you've received at least one email with too many exclamation points from me, and I really appreciate your time tonight as we talk through this extremely cool legacy event of Northwest Ohio Clean Your Streams Day, which has been going on for 26 years. So this is what we're going to get into today. Do a little bit of background on Clean Your Streams, go over the roles and responsibilities of the many people that make this event happen, including yourselves, go through the schedule of the day, what to actually expect on Clean Your Streams Day, talk through supplies, safety, data reporting, a big piece of what we do, and then end with the appreciation picnic, which I really hope all of you will go to. So we literally could not do this without you. Site captains are really critical volunteers in Clean Your Streams because you guys are basically the folks on the ground making sure that volunteers know what they're doing. I am but one person. Site captains are but, 8, if you double that, 16 people, or sorry, quick kickoff coordinators are but 16 people, and then site captains are really critical volunteers. We have a planning team that works on this event for many months leading up to Clean Your Streams Day. We start meeting in May, but we're talking even before that. And we're also generously supported by some sponsors who we're very grateful for. We've got a legacy Clean Your Streams pick. How did this event begin 26 years ago? So with 60 volunteers, inspired by the Mommy Remedial Action Plan, they wanted to go out and remove trash from local waterways and see just how big of a difference can we make. There have been years that Clean Your Streams had over 1,000 volunteers and remove over 30,000 pounds of trash is true. Like so many things in the world, we had a little bit of a dip in 2020, and we've been slowly rebounding in volunteer numbers over the years, and the sites that we're able to tackle have been able to be more robust. And I'm happy to say that this year we have over 600 people volunteered for Clean Your Streams. So that is an awesome jump from 2021, and I'm glad that we're starting to bounce back more and more. So I work for Partners for Clean Streams as the program coordinator, and Partners for Clean Streams has been helping to manage the beautiful chaos of Clean Your Streams Day since 2007. We have an office in Perrysburg, but we work all around the greater Toledo. We get trash out of rivers and people into them. And Clean Your Streams Day is not our only program. We actually do different kinds of educational programming and volunteer service opportunities throughout the year, although Clean Your Streams Day is often what people know us for. So if you look around on our website, you will see the many different things that we get up to. We have some big pillars of what we do with Partners for Clean Streams. When we say things like regional coordination and planning, it means that we work with a lot of other organizations to make their projects happen. We have public education programming. We help coordinate habitat and stream restoration projects, some kind of on the ground nitty gritty environmental remediation. And then we also manage community volunteer events like the one that you guys are part of. So Clean Your Streams Day began and continues to be one of the cleanups through the International Coastal Cleanup Effort. This has been going on for 35 years for our 26 years. And the data that you collect and the marine debris that you remove is going to get counted toward this international effort, which is very cool. Our 500 to 600 some volunteers are going to be part of this massive number. And a lot of people don't think of us as a coastal region, but Great Lakes states like ours are considered coasts. We're the north coast of America and not to be forgotten about. So we are very proud to be part of this international coastal cleanup effort. Just because we're a freshwater coast doesn't mean we're not a coast. So the trash data that you all are going to collect, we'll get into the nitty gritty of data collection later on, is going to shape new international and national policies. It influences manufacturers to change their packaging materials, and our data is a real part of this larger picture. So the things that you're doing are important. It's bigger than just picking up the trash, which might never come back or it might come back in a week, but we're being part of this bigger effort of data collection and information and education. So that's the top-down big picture stuff. What actually happens on Clean Your Streams Day? I love this picture because this is our summer intern Kayla, like boldly leading this team of volunteers through the Maumee River. She just looks so cool. So we've got a few different groups of people who work hard throughout this event. Starting us off are event coordinators. This is a picture of me back when I had hair on both sides of my head. So the event coordinators are the staff of Partners for Clean Streams, Chris, our executive director, me, and Kayla Kirkpatrick, who I call our summer intern, but she's agreed to stick on for a bit in the fall, so now she's just an intern. We're responsible for planning and oversight of Clean Your Streams. We do all the background stuff on registration, food, helping to coordinate garbage hauling. In the case of an emergency, we're people who find out about it. I send you emails with exclamation points to help this event happen. Next up, we've got kickoff coordinators. Some of these folks are with us today. Thank you so much for being here. They are responsible for coordinating kickoff locations. So they select the sites that you're going to clean. This is a lot of work, folks. They go out and scout many different locations to figure out what are the places that have the greatest need. Where do we stage the trash? Where do you guys park? It is an awesome effort that these people take up. On the morning of, you're going to meet your kickoff coordinator because they're going to welcome and orient you to your kickoff. They assign captains and team members to sites. So if you're a solo site captain, your kickoff coordinator will connect you to a team. And if you're a site captain in charge of a group, you're already set there. But in either case, the kickoff coordinator will help you find the right site for your group. They also do a lot of work coordinating garbage pickup. And they are your second point of contact after emergencies, after 911, of course. So I've got some pictures of our kickoff coordinators here. We do have Marilyn and Rick and Zach in the chat today, and I don't think I missed anybody else come in. But if you have questions for them, there'll be time for that at the end. And also, if any of you have questions for your kickoff coordinators who are not present, feel free to shoot me an email and I will connect you directly with them and you can talk via phone or email. They try to be really accessible to volunteers in the days leading up to the event so they can answer questions. Next up, we have group leaders. Some of you here are group leaders, and at this time, it'd be cool if you wanted to type in the chat if you are coming to Clean Your Streams with a group. So if you're a group leader, you might have registered your group, or you might not have actually gone in to register, but you might have coordinated their involvement. So there are groups that are bringing a lot of people. You might be a group of 30 that has 3 site captains. You might be a business that has 50 people coming to one kickoff, and you'll have 5 site captains. So a group leader is not necessarily a site captain, and a site captain is not necessarily a group leader. You do have an important job, which is you're going to fill out challenge entry forms or river partner forms if either of those are something that interests you. More on that later, but you speak on behalf of your group. This is redundant to what I just said. There is some redundancy intentionally built into this presentation, but group leaders are often site captains, but if you have over 10 volunteers, you may have more than one site captain. We have the St. Ursula crew team here. You guys have an awesome large group of like 30 people, so we're very happy that you're going to be out at International Park. Feel free to put your group name still in the chat if you want. I'll shout them out. Ohio EPA Northwest District Office. Andy is a legacy site captain and is awesome to have him here. Environmental Law Society, we're so happy to have your group here as well. CEC, thank you for being a sponsor and a participant. Very cool. I know we'll have more folks come in too, so thank you. Oh, we got 2 more little bubbles I'll read. BGSU Thompson Scholars, yes, I'm so excited to have you. We have exchanged some emails. University of Toledo Engineering Council, UTEC is super cool. Yeah, we've got a great variety of student organizations and businesses and agencies and nonprofits with us today. It's fantastic. I know there's also U.S. Coast Guard Marine Safety Unit, very cool. There's also plenty of Scout troop leaders, some church youth groups, all kinds of group leaders with us. So now we come to the main event of our roles and responsibilities, which are site captains, what all of you are here to learn about doing. So you are responsible for coordinating team members at a site. You're going to assign team jobs, which are data recorder and trash picker-upper, distributing the supplies at your site, making sure everybody has the gloves and bags and things that they need, timekeeping, making sure that you don't have so much fun cleaning that you stay there until 2 p.m., that things start on time and end on time, thanks to you. Turning in the data cards either to your kickoff coordinator or to the picnic, or to the picnic. And you're going to be a point of contact for safety for folks. They're going to look to you if they have safety questions. So these are two other sort of redundant points. Site captains don't have to be group leaders, and site captains also don't have to be data recorders. You may be assigning other people to do that job. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for making sure that the data cards are filled out. So some people prefer to be data recorders because if you're responsible for it anyway, you can make sure the job gets done well. A little bit more detail on site captain responsibilities. You'll have a first aid kit with emergency numbers. We are not going to give you a comprehensive first aid training today, but you will have things like ice packs and band-aids that are very intuitive to use. You're going to distribute and collect data cards, like I mentioned earlier, work on those team assignments as a timekeeper and as a supply manager. And finally, and importantly, we've got team members who are responsible for collecting trash and recording data. This is one more breakdown of roles and responsibilities. I kind of think about it by location. I was a geography undergrad major, so I'm geography oriented. Event coordinators are going to float between kickoffs. I'm actually going to be at the UT kickoff to start, so if you know you're going there, I'll see you there. Kickoff coordinators are in charge of a region with many different sites. Group leaders will be at a specific site, although large groups might be split across multiple sites. Like if you're a group bringing 30 people, you might be at different sites that are nearby each other, but distinct. You'll have different data recorders. Site captains are at just one site and team members are at just one site. I'm going to pause for a moment and ask if anybody has any questions about that. Feel free to drop in the chat. And we've got a group leader for text as well. Thank you, Greg, for being here. Okay, schedule of the day. How does Clean Your Streams Day work? So we start kind of early in the morning because we got a jam-packed day. Sometime between 8 and 8:15, you want to arrive at your kickoff location. Somewhere between 8 and 8:30, you're going to check in with your kickoff coordinator. That's the time where you turn in your liability forms, collect additional forms if you've had people forget to bring them, or maybe you have somebody that didn't sign up, but gosh, they just really wanted to be there today. We've got extra forms for them. You review the site that you're going to travel to, get directions if you need them, and then get supplies, of course. There's also going to be a little orientation talk by your kickoff coordinator. We give them some notes that they're going to explain a mini version of some of the things in this training to all of the people there. But you guys will be important points of contact because you've heard the in-detailed version of how Clean Your Streams Day works. Around 9 a.m., sometimes a little bit earlier, just depends on how long the kickoff coordinator orientation takes. You'll travel to your assigned site and begin cleaning, and that's the place to establish team roles, tell people you're going to be a trash collector, you're going to be a data recorder, pass out the gloves, bags, and grabbers, make sure that different teams will have enough first aid kits. A very important part is tell people where garbage is going to be piled. We don't want to leave random piles of trash places because that gets people mad at Partners for Clean Streams. We want to stage the trash where the city or the municipality expects it to be picked up. So that's information your kickoff coordinator will give you. And then you're going to want to review how to fill out data cards with your volunteers. So you'll know how to do this at the end of this training, but they won't be familiar with it just yet. Sometime around 11:30, you're going to wrap up that cleaning process, gather all your bags in the designated location, make sure volunteers have totaled data cards, collect supplies, etc. And then between 11:45 to noon, you want to head out to the volunteer appreciation picnic because we're going to have so much free food, you guys, and t-shirts and door prizes and fun stuff. And as we kind of continue to rebound from our unvaccinated COVID world, it's just very exciting to get to be able to gather safely in outdoor places. So would love you to be there. Going to briefly touch on supplies. This is perhaps the most critical supply in your arsenal, actually, which is the liability forms. You have probably received more than one email that's reminding you to make sure that everyone on your team has a separate signed liability form prior to this event. It is very important for youth under 18 have to have an adult signature, or we ask that they don't participate in this event at all. So if you're coordinating a youth group, that takes a little bit of extra legwork on your part because they can't just whip off a signature on that morning of. If you need additional copies of our PDF, it is very easily found on our website. And we do ask that you complete that emergency contact information. We never want to use it, but we got to have it. I see a notification in the chat. Yeah, or over 100 students, exactly. Tex has a special responsibility of coordinating a really large group of youth. So the kickoff coordinators will have a bunch of supplies that they are then going to parcel out to different sites and site captains. But your group is going to have, for sure, gloves and bags. You'll probably have a few sets of grabbers, garbage pile signs. This is part of that process where we don't want people to get grumpy at us for leaving trash in their spaces. So you can see in the picture, we make laminated signs that say, this was removed by volunteers from your waterway and it's going to get picked up, so don't worry. We put clipboards in scare quotes here because it will probably be a sturdy piece of cardboard or plastic. They're sort of DIY clipboards. You'll of course have something to write with, data cards, and then first aid kits. Note for this year, we will have backup masks available at kickoffs, but if you're more comfortable wearing a mask, we do ask that you just plan to bring one and wear your own. So you have a few things particularly for you, which is as a site captain, you're responsible for holding on to the first aid kit for your site, and it also has that phone number of contacts in case of an emergency. You might have a site map. Some site captains will prepare paper maps for different sites. You might not. You might not need one at all, depending on where you're going. You'll have a site captain reporting form. So it may be that you have multiple groups data collecting and you're going to compile their data onto your reporting form. And then, like we mentioned before, you're in charge of extra supplies. Any questions on supplies before we move into safety? I feel supplies are pretty self-explanatory, but I don't think of things I don't think of. So that's why I ask. So some of our safety advice is going to be possibly common sense, but we're aware that a lot of you are coordinating groups with young people and especially kids. So we're more like reminding you of things that you might already know so that you then think, okay, I'm going to tell the youth in my group about this. But also some of it is just good to know in general for all ages as safety guidelines. So the number one safety guideline I could possibly ever give you for a cleanup is if you don't want to touch something, just leave it. Just pick it up. It might seem like, why live are you spending time telling people this? But you're going to find yourself in like a rhythm of trash removal, and so will the people on your team. It's really fun. People are calling out what they pick up. It's a lot of energy. And there's sort of like an automatic reach response that happens. And then a second later, you'll think, oh my gosh, what was this? This was kind of gross, actually. Just continue to be mindful as you do your cleanup is really important. If there's something that really should get removed, but you're not comfortable picking up or it's not safe to pick up, you should mark that with flagging tape. You'll have that in your first aid kit. It's basically like highlighter orange or bright pink tape that's very visible and easy to see. Like you would expect, we encourage you to wear the gloves, share grabbers, and make sure to isolate sharp or dangerous items rather than put them directly into a plastic bag. So it is not impossible to find things like syringes. You'll certainly find broken glass. Just put that inside of maybe like a sturdy bottle of some kind, like a water bottle, before you deposit it in your bag. And then, of course, our other super important safety guideline, if somebody is seriously injured, just call 911. Don't call me first. Don't call your kickoff coordinator first. Always emergency number first, and then please do let us know if something's happened. So a few just general safety tips. Watch what you pick up, especially good to remind kids. Watch where you walk. If you are at a site that is over water and has log jams, never climb on these. Tell the kids in your groups never to climb on these. This is ankle twisting city. This is like the #1 actual most dangerous thing on Clean Your Streams. We're going to get into a section where we warn you about like potentially hazardous items and drugs and things. The true biggest danger thing, never climb on log jams. Keep an eye out for poison ivy. Please wear pants and closed-toed shoes during this cleanup. It will just make your life easier. And if you know you're sensitive to bugs, you should bring repellent. We'll provide some too with your kickoff coordinators, but you can bring it yourself. Info on poison ivy. We are so privileged to live in a place with very few plants that can harm us, but poison ivy and stinging nettles are out there. 3 leaves, let it be. It's common in the kinds of disturbed areas and along roads where you all will be working. So if you know that you're sensitive, the good news for you is poison ivy is actually very treatable and removable just with like dish soap or any other kind of degreasing soap. And you've got usually a few hours to deal with it. So if you think, shoot, I think that I walked into some poison ivy during my cleanup, you can go home and then scrub your hands or maybe scrub your legs. And that helps for most people. If you know you're especially sensitive, we do actually have IVX wipes provided in first aid kits and some like poison ivy gel basically that is sure to get it off your skin. For wasps and bees, individual wasps and bees are generally not dangerous. Your goal is to want to behave slowly, not press them against yourself. Again, it's kind of a mindfulness thing of where you're cleaning and walking, be aware of potential environmental hazards. You do have sting treatment wipes in your first aid kit if something happens. And if somebody is allergic, that's a 911 situation if there's serious swelling. And often people will volunteer that information and say, I'm really allergic to bees, just so you know, or like, I'm not going over there because I see there's a bee's nest. That's very helpful, staying in communication with your team. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on hazardous items that you might find. It's not that you're particularly likely to find any of these, but we want you to be prepared if it does happen and to know that there's like a plan in place and that we're not surprised if it does happen. So some things that you're fairly likely to find are needles, broken glass, and nails. So because you're wearing your gloves this whole time, you can just place them into something puncture proof, like I mentioned before. Guns or other weapons, not likely to find, but this is something not to touch. Leave it exactly in place as you found it. Doesn't matter if you think it's loaded, unloaded, whatever. Flag it and tell your kickoff coordinator. Your kickoff coordinator, by the way, is going to call a non-emergency police line and let them know that this was found. Toxic chemicals might be indicated by strong smells like kerosene, gasoline. This is one more thing not to touch, something instead to flag and tell your kickoff coordinator. Depending on what site you're at, there are some sites where there is zero risk of you finding this. There are some other places where it might be more likely that you find some of these things. If there's any kind of like single use or multi-use drug paraphernalia, you're able to pick that up and safely dispose of it. That's not something that needs to be brought to anybody's attention. If you actually find illegal drugs, that is something you need to leave in place. You should leave that area completely, tell your kickoff coordinator. It has happened before that a volunteer has found marijuana plants like growing, and that would be an example of a place to simply leave and tell your kickoff coordinator. Not likely, not something we expect to find, but it has happened before. This is another example of not likely, but we want you to be prepared. Um, the Sheriff's Department has asked us to give a little bit of heads up to you all about what a meth lab might look like. Your kickoff coordinators have a little bit more training and experience on how to recognize this. As an FYI, no Partners for Clean Streams volunteer has ever found a meth lab confirmed during any of our cleanups, but we do this just in case. As you might expect from everything that we've said before, in case of suspected meth lab activity, don't touch anything, clear people out of the way, flag it, and tell your kickoff coordinator. Yeah, Zach says, I warn my students every year, it hasn't happened yet, so. And honestly, text goes to some of our sketchier sites, we'll put it like that, so if they haven't found it, that's good. Just as an FYI, the one-pot meth lab method can be found anywhere. It's not necessarily rural or urban, and the reason why we're so careful about it and warn you about it, even though it's not very likely at all that you'll find it, is that it's essentially a bomb under pressure. Even if it's not like actively chemically hazardous, just the ingredients used to make it are potentially harmful. So if it's not a bomb, it's still not a good thing to pick up. But something to look out for would be like collections of various kinds of ingredients, cold and sinus med packaging, batteries, and the kind of telltale thing is this separated liquid with particulate stuff at the bottom and then clear liquid at the top. Unfortunately, opiates and fentanyl are a growing concern in our area. If you happen to see a very small plastic wrapper that's got a twisted top, small foil pieces, something to absolutely not touch, flag it and contact your kickoff coordinator. This is another example of some kickoffs won't experience this at all, and some kickoffs definitely could. So homeless camps can be found anywhere, but they're mostly urban in our part of the world. We treat these sites as somebody's home. We don't want to clean up somebody's worldly possessions. That would be horrible if it happened to you, and we're not going to do that to somebody else. So there might be a site that looks clearly abandoned. When we say clearly, it has like lots of dirt and leaves covering stuff. It's like kind of buried, maybe. If there is any ambiguity if somebody currently lives here or not, just leave it. Don't clean up somebody's stuff. Somebody living there might approach you and give you things they'd like to be removed. That's fine. I once had somebody who was homeless want to just join in on my cleanup, and they were really friendly and approachable. And I was with a group of all adults, and I said, "Yeah, just go for it." And we had a great conversation, and they were a really cool person. If for any reason you want to leave an area because you think that somebody's living there, or if there's some other reason why an area just doesn't seem safe to you, let your kickoff coordinator know, and they're going to be able to suggest a different site for you. They try to prep some backup sites just in case something goes down. Valuable items. So if you find something of value, like a credit card, wallet, jewelry, safe, yes, we have had volunteers find whole safes, or anything with a serial number, these items should not be thrown away. This is another thing, like, do we really have to tell you this? But there is an autopilot of cleaning, and you'll pick something up and then it'll immediately go into a trash bag, and you'll think, oh my gosh, that was a wallet. We had that happen at a cleanup earlier this year. A volunteer found somebody's wallet, and we were able to turn it into the non-emergency police line for it to be recovered by its owner, which was really cool. You do want to note the location where the valuable item was found. If it's too large to move, if you're somebody else who finds a safe, you should flag it because that'll help your kickoff coordinator find it later. If it is small, like a wallet, you can take it back to your kickoff coordinator and they're going to do their best to return it to its owner. Some final notes for safety policy. Please try to have at least 2 adults per group with working with youth volunteers. This is a PCS policy when we do our own cleanups. We never have one-on-one adult and youth interactions, which we were inspired by other organizations' safety policies on this. Since it is 2022, you do want to continue to follow all of the COVID-19 policies for your organization that are in place at this time. Partners for Clean Streams does not currently require volunteers to wear masks or social distance while outside doing stuff. If you've got any concerns or questions about safety, our Executive Director, Chris Patterson, is the right person to call. And our general advice overall points: don't work alone, and we should probably add, if you're not comfortable picking something up, don't pick it up. Nice and easy. You all are going to get a copy of this presentation once we're done, so you don't need to be scribbling notes on this chart, but we basically have a cheat sheet for what you should tell your kickoff coordinator about and not something they need to know about. So like I mentioned before, things like discarded drug paraphernalia, you don't really have to tell your kickoff coordinator if you find a needle, with the exception of meth labs. If you find valuable items, you do want to tell them, although not necessarily immediately. You can wait. But anything that's like an immediate threat or medical emergency, you do want to tell them. Any questions on safety? That's a long section, and I really appreciate everybody hanging in there for it.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Should we bring a container for anything that's hazard?
You don't have to. You'll find that as you clean up, there will just be like enough other ambient container trash that you can put things inside. There might be some specific site that your kickoff coordinator will give you a sharps container, but by and large, you don't need to worry about that. That is a good question. That's very like forward thinking of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we do, and the volunteers do not get a T-shirt at the kickoff, right?
Well, we're actually going to do our best to give you t-shirts. And I'm glad that you said that because I was supposed to ask you this earlier. If you would not mind putting in the chat the kickoff you're going to and your shirt size. The options are youth medium through XXL adult, because we really want to get people kickoff coordinator, or sorry, we want to get the site captains shirts at their kickoff so that you're easy to identify. But all the regular volunteers will get shirts at the picnic. So yeah, actually now is just a great transition point where feel free to take a second, type in the chat the kickoff you're going to and your shirt size.
That's what I thought. Like having everybody to wear the same shirt is easy to, to see them.
Absolutely, yeah. We were mind links, only you were more on it than me because I forgot that I was supposed to encourage you all to do that. We'll have some extra shirts too at the kickoff locations just in case anybody doesn't attend this training or wants a different size of shirt when they try it on. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to let this keep trickling in, and then I'll have a copy of that chat at the end, and then make sure that we prep enough shirts for the different kickoffs. So we're going to talk a little bit about data recording, switching gears from safety. Side note, I took this photo earlier this year. We were at Otsego Park with a really lovely group of zoo teens and other adult volunteers, and these two ducks just wanted to be our friends so much, and I thought, I have to immortalize this moment for posterity. So why do we record cleanup data? There are people who have never volunteered with us before and are very surprised that we do this and that we emphasize it so much. It's nice to pick up trash, but at the end of the day, if all we've done is pick up trash, we don't have anything to show for it. We want to be able to measure our impact and the difference that we make. We want to be able to compare marine debris from site to site and year to year. For example, we can say things conclusively and not just anecdotally, like in the past we found more large-scale dumping, people who would dump things like broken furniture or appliances, and now we find a lot more single-use fast food waste, plasticky kinds of things. We want to learn how to best target removal, prevention, and education strategies. You target illegal dumping differently than you target cigarette butt littering, differently than you target fishing line not being disposed of properly. And we also want to share our results with other organizations, government agencies, and companies. and be able to say, like, this is how much trash we removed. These are the types of trash we removed and the places that we went. So the recording of the data is a really critical piece of what we do. How do we actually use this data? We want to understand area trends locally. This is the big trend that I mentioned earlier with more single-use plastic and less large-scale dumping. We do want to use prevention and education methods tailored to what we find and where we're finding it. Regionally and nationally, we use identified trends to help inform policy and funding decisions. And like I mentioned in the previous slide about the Ocean Conservancy, there are organizations that actually work with companies to adjust packaging and say, like, these are the things that we're specifically finding. This is what's not biodegrading. In these areas, these are the things that are problems. What are you all going to do about it? Which I find very encouraging. So how do we record data for cleanups? We prefer that you use data cards on Clean Your Streams Day because it helps keep everything kind of standardized. If you are doing a remote cleanup, you'll be on the CleanSwell app, and we will talk about that a little bit too. But if you're at an in-person kickoff, please use a data card. You usually have 3 to 4 people working on picking up trash per card. If you get any more than that, it gets hard for them to call out the things that they pick up. After the cleanup, you want to turn in your data card or data cards if there's more than one, and then a site captain reporting form to your kickoff coordinator. Or if you know you're going to the picnic, you can turn it into the picnic. That works great too. I'll go back here for just 1 second and say the general process for how we use data cards is you work in a team of 4 to 5 people with 1 recorder, 3 to 4 trash collectors, and the trash collectors literally call things out as they pick them up. So they'll go 5 cigarette butts, plastic water bottle, floss pick, and in a moment you'll see there are categories for many of these different commonly found items. So when you get this form, this is what the front of it looks like. Some of it might be pre-filled in. Your kickoff coordinator might write in their own name and their phone number, but you'll also have that name and phone number available from an emergency contact sheet. You write in your own name, of course, as site captain, and then if you're the data recorder, you write it there, or if you assign somebody else to be the data recorder, they write their name there. You also want to fill in your site information with the name of where you're going, which again, your kickoff coordinator will tell you, all the location details that they might need. We have created a custom sticker for this card to give you a chance to list items that are not on the back, which I'll show you what the back looks like in just a moment. But you will find miscellaneous items of interest, and this is the place to put them. You'll also find unbagged items, or unbaggable items, I guess I should say. So if you are finding pieces of broken furniture or siding of a house was at a site that I scouted earlier, a bunch of like 5-gallon buckets, we're not going to bag those. They're just other unbagged items. We've included some kind of formula estimates to determine the approximate weight of your trash. And some of your kickoffs actually have little trash weight scales that are like hand luggage scales. So you don't need to estimate. If you have one of those, you'll just be able to weigh your trash. We've got a little plug here. Please share your group photos with us. We love seeing what you all get up to. And I am just one person, and your kickoff coordinators are also just a handful of people, and we can't take photos of all the awesome things that you guys are finding and the good work that you're doing. So when you send us stuff, that is a massive help, and it's fun. If you tell us we can share it on social media, we totally will. So this is the back of the data card, which I kind of mentioned earlier. You will find so many of the things in these categories. So things like cigarette butts, food wrappers, packaging of various kinds. Believe it or not, PCS staff, meaning me probably, will go through every single data card to input these into the TIDES database of the Ocean Conservancy runs. So the neater your recorders make these data cards, the better my life will personally be and the lives of everyone interested in using this data in the future. So neatness really counts on this one. We also have included a few extra categories of things that are really commonly found that are actually in the TIDES database, but they just don't happen to be on this set of data cards. This is an old edition of the data cards, and the internet version is updated basically, and these aren't updated yet. So we like manually, by we I mean Chris this time, wrote in these categories on your data cards. The PPE, toys and balls, clothes and shoes that I've highlighted down there. PPE is masks and gloves. You've got a section at the bottom to tell us the number of trash bags that you filled, the estimated weight of trash collected, unless you have a trash scale, in which case it's not estimated, it's the real weight, and approximately the distance that you cleaned up. If you're doing a remote kickoff, you're probably going to use CleanSwell, which is great. Please use only a data card or CleanSwell, not both. That gets really confusing for us if there's like redundant data coming in from multiple places. So my rule of thumb is in-person kickoff, data card, remote kickoff, CleanSwell. It is really easy to find in your phone's app store. It pops up right away when you just search for it. It is a very useful and imperfect tool, is how I describe CleanSwell. So we're going to get into it just a little bit to prevent some common pitfalls of CleanSwell use. So these are a series of screen caps of things you'll see in the app. With the number of people, you should only tell us the number of people actively working on this area of the site with you. So maybe you're bringing a group of 30 people, but only 5 people are actively calling out their trash to you as you use CleanSwell. Just put 5, because that's the number of people actually submitting data. For group name, it is very helpful if you type in CYS26 and then whatever the actual name of your group is, because we want to know that our event brought you. The location it will automatically find, but you do want to start your cleanup when that button at the bottom, start a new cleanup, while you're on site and not beforehand at your kickoff, because it will passively like run in the background and it'll record you having cleaned up for like miles and miles. If you drive from your kickoff to your site and then maybe you forget to submit and your phone's still on in your pocket, and then you drive home and it's like, wow, this person cleaned up 25 miles, but you didn't. You cleaned up 1 mile and then you had your phone the whole time. So just be aware to only run the app while you're doing your cleanup. Just like the data card, we're looking at the middle section now. Your items are going to come in categories. And then when you click on that category, it'll break it down into little tiles, and you tap and hold the tile to add things. If you press down and do a long hold, it will let you remove stuff too, so you're not locked in. I found the app itself to be pretty intuitive to use, just like I said, with a few kind of pitfalls to be aware of. One last CleanSwell FYI, it is not good at estimating weight when you need to record large and unusual items. So if you're at a site where you're picking up buckets of discarded house siding or construction barrels or wet clothes in a big bundle, you're going to want to use the other debris button, and then you can manually adjust the weight at the end. So give your best estimate of some of those heavy items, or else it doesn't get counted in the weight at all for CleanSwell. That last note, remember to hit submit on site, is what I was talking about, so it doesn't like continue to record the places that you drive. That's my summary of CleanSwell. I love it and I want people to use it more, and mostly I want people to use it well. So if you have any questions about using CleanSwell, I'm happy to connect about that. Feel free to call or email. When it comes to garbage hauling, if you find something that is too big to move, these awesome volunteers are moving this water heater, but you might not be able to move a water heater. This would be something to put on your data card and then actually flag it using our tape and tell your kickoff coordinator about it. You might find that on your site, you're not able to pile garbage in the place that it was designated. Maybe there's a car parked right where you were supposed to put the trash. that's something to just tell your kickoff coordinator about. Or maybe there's like a pile of trash at the bottom of a ravine or something, and you think like, we can't possibly move all of these things. Tell your kickoff coordinator about that. Mentioned this one earlier, but trash gets separated by type. So tires are separate from other things. Let me go back on that one. Bagged trash, unbagged trash, and tires get separated. With a minutia within, bagged trash does not get separated. But tires need to be kept separately because we actually recycle them through a partner program. Any questions on data recording before we move on to our next section here? And trash management in general. I'm going to look in the chat for some things. Will information on data recording be given to team members at check-in on that Saturday morning? Yes, that's something that your kickoff coordinators are going to go over in their intro spiel. Just the basics on this is what a data card looks like. It comes in categories. Use tally marks, total the tallies at the end. When the site captains know what's going on, it's very helpful because even though your kickoff coordinators will explain it, your team members will only partially parse that information. And so you get to be the second round of explaining. Zach says, are you bringing tires to the picnic? That is one of the places you can drop off tires. Yes, I'll shoot you an email about that. Zach is asking that because he's a kickoff coordinator. Site captains are not responsible for moving tires or trash or anything else. You're just responsible for making sure it gets piled in the right place. Appreciation picnic. So to thank our volunteers, all of you, we offer free food, Clean Your Streams t-shirts, although I want to get you all your shirts at your kickoffs. Your teammates are going to get jealous of your cool shirts and they're going to want to get them, so they should come to the picnic. We have door prizes and raffle prizes, as many from local businesses as we can possibly highlight. That's something that we really like to be able to do. And we also have education station partners where local organizations who also work on water quality come out and talk about the things that they do. Some other fun things to do at the picnic: drop off your supplies. If you are not able to connect with your kickoff coordinator or you just want to make their life easier, you can go ahead and take your own supplies from your site to the picnic, and there will be like box stations to leave that out. I mentioned the education stations before. You should applaud the Youth Clean Your Streams Challenge winners. We do announce the Clean Your Streams youth challenges at the picnic, but collegiate challenges work a little bit differently, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Definitely be part of the group photo because it's fun. And you get to hang out and enjoy community with other awesome people who would spend their Saturday doing this. So to me, that's worth doing. So I've mentioned it several times throughout the presentation, but what are Clean Your Streams challenges? Basically, these started because there was always an element of friendly competition in Clean Your Streams Day. People got excited when they found heavy trash, when a small group could make a big impact, and when they found particularly weird stuff. So if you are coordinating a youth group, there's a special form for you to fill out where you describe different aspects of your trash. You talk about the number of bags, the weight. You can get that form from your kickoff coordinator. You submit it at the picnic, and then we announce winners at the picnic for the youth. For collegiate groups, we know that a lot of you unfortunately can't come to the picnic. You don't have transportation, and so to be considered for these categories, the most important thing is on your data card, write the name of your group. We look at all collegiate group data cards and we will contact you after Clean Your Streams Day. We've had the time to fully process your data and say, congrats, you guys actually won Battle of the Bags. We still have fun trophies for you, so don't worry. And we give you an invitation to our annual general meeting at the end of the year. We've also got 2 photo challenges for collegiate groups. We want you to find the strangest find that you can and your best before and after picture. These get submitted through social media, or you can email our admin email address with your pictures. If you want more info on challenges, I have a whole challenge sheet breakdown, but also your kickoff coordinator will be able to give you an info sheet about that once you arrive. And then if you are part of a group that is mostly adults or it's not focused on youth or collegiate, you also have a separate category. There's like a college version of best before and after and strangest find, and then in everybody, best before and after and strangest find. So definitely tag us in social media, send it to us via email if that's your preference, and we are going to vote for the winners on those photo challenges. I see questions in the chat. Where is the picnic? It is at the Lucas County Recreation Center. I'm having like a word finding problem. It's like the place where the Lucas County Fair is. It's in the Arts and Crafts building. And you should be getting an automated email from us in the next 24 hours or so with more details about that. This is another way that you can get recognized. We kind of consider it part of the challenges, but this is just saying thank you if you're a business, nonprofit, agency, or another kind of group that's bringing a number of folks to Clean Your Streams Day. When you're at your kickoff coordinators will have a sheet where you write down the name of your group and the number of participants. And we also give you a certificate, recognize you on our webpage, and invite you to our annual general meeting. Is it possible to get a copy of this presentation? Yes, it is. In fact, I will send it to you once we're done here. I'm anticipating everybody getting one. So yeah, this is just another cool way for us to say thank you to you and for you to get a fun River Partner title, which why wouldn't you want that? Said this one once before too, we desperately want your photos because our staff can only be in a few places and you all are everywhere seeing really cool things and doing really cool things. So even if you're not interested in photo contests, just send it to us if you'd like to be featured, and we'd love to highlight the work that you're doing. We have our socials here, and when I send you the presentation, you'll have our socials too. I run our social media, so if you follow us, I'll try to keep you entertained. Coming to the very end here, everybody, I know this is a lot of information, and I'm grateful for everybody's time this evening. Final reminders are liability forms. All volunteers gotta complete them. Minors gotta have a parent or guardian signature. If you have trouble finding a liability form, please email me and I will make sure that you get one, but they are accessible on our website as a PDF. Our number one safety rule: don't pick up anything you're not comfortable picking up. Tell your youth volunteers that. Tell your collegiate volunteers that. Tell your adult volunteers that. Don't pick up things you're not comfortable picking up. You want to separate your piles of trash for different haulers, bagged, unbagged, and tires. Complete those data cards or submit your data via CleanSwell. Go out and explore and enjoy your waterways. That's how this event started, and it's what we're most excited about still. And keep in mind that you can support clean, clear, and safe water all year by donating to our organization. And we also have different volunteer programs that run all throughout the year. So if you enjoy Clean Your Streams Day, you'll probably enjoy other things we do as well. So I highlight our kickoff coordinators again, in case you'd like to connect with any of those folks. Again, we have Marilyn, Zach, and Rick here today. If any of them are your kickoff coordinator, feel free to drop questions in the chat. Or if you're like, I'm going to the International Park kickoff, pass this question along to Aria, I'm happy to do that. And this is my final splash slide to say thank you. We made it in an hour. So proud of us. If you have any other questions about the presentation, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will do what I can to answer. If you don't have questions, thank you very much for sharing your evening with me, and I hope you're as excited about this event as I am. Feel free to head on out if you're done. Get a copy of the recording. You're welcome, Noah. I'm happy to do it. I will stick around for a little bit for questions, and because I'm going to make sure that we get a log of all of the people who specified their shirt size. Hi, Chris. I just minimized my presentation and saw your face.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for cleaning on Saturday.
You're welcome, folks. Thanks for being here.